Morning, brothers and sisters. I think this is the final wrap-up on the Key of David. I did manage to make my way through one of my copies that I had written out on the Key of David. And there's just a few references that if you want to add in and you're studying the Key of David, that you want to add into the other references that we had outlined. Those references were Jeremiah 9, Jeremiah 6. Those are repeat chapters. Then you link them to Micah 2. Then you link that to 1 Kings chapter 11. I forget which verse we start at there, but at the part where Jeroboam's rebellion begins. And you link that to that little verse that you find in Job 31:33, and how he daubed the wall. And was that all of those passages linked there? I think that's... And that's your understanding of the Key of David, which we went over in a brief. It was a very compressed outline of the Key of David. And you're always going to find yourself able to add more information to it. So, you know, most of this understanding for me, the Key of David took me to understanding the lilies of the covenant, or the covenant of the lily. And David does have, I forget how many chapters that he has in the Psalms, that if you go in and you look at what they really mean in English, they mean the lilies of the covenant, or the covenant of the lilies. And so because you see a lily in Song of Songs, your eye is drawn to that, which then leads you to this flock of she-goats. And so you're left really puzzling it all together, is really what you're left doing. And you really get a deep understanding of really what the Key of David is talking about. And it's talking about the divine glory. She's called the daughter Zion. She's called the lily of the covenant. And the Shushan gate that currently is daubed up is the gate that is designated for her. And it is called the eternal gate. It's called the mercy gate, the golden gate, the lily gate. This is the divine presence gate. This is the female's gate. This is the bride's gate. This is daughter Zion's gate. That's what we come to understand when we put all those passages together and link them to other passages like what we find in Isaiah 35:8, a highway of holiness. Okay, this is something that you can look at for yourself. I'm not going to go into detail because I thought I'd share a few allegories with you as well. Job 31, we looked at that, 33. Hebrews 9, verses 13 and 14. It clearly identifies the red heifer there as your eternal spirit. When you want to go in and look at that, a heifer is a female, not a male. Says you can get away with blaspheming the Son, but you're not going to get away with blaspheming the Spirit, and the Spirit is she. And I think sometimes when we refer to the Spirit as a he, we're blaspheming her. That's what this was all designed to do, to blaspheme the righteous female and get her out of play. Ezekiel 22:30. God sought for a man that should stand in, who should build up the wall and stand in the breach. She found none. She had to provide her own son. That was Christ. And then you find passages like that you find in Psalm 106:23, 59:16. That's Psalm 59:16. Isaiah 63:5 and Isaiah 64:7. You can go look into them. And let me see, what else do we have? Okay, we said Ezekiel 13, right, as one of our reference chapters in our studies, if you really want to understand what the Key of David is about. Hebrews 4:12, it just talks about the sword being a double edge. So it's saying that there's two ways of looking at things. You know, the serpent spoke truth with lies. She had a forked tongue, she did. And so did Adam. It says his words became like oil. And it speaks of that whore spirit's words like oil. But his is like them too, because he took her as his ruler to govern his body, the whore spirit, which then, like we said, puts him in charge. All right, so the daubing of the wall was in 1 Kings 11, 26, 27. We looked at those chapters. What else did I highlight here? Because I just went through it really fast. I did this study like back in 2017, and I didn't realize that the day of the eclipse August 21, 2017, that was the day of the eclipse, the solar eclipse, the big solar eclipse. But exactly a month after that, I have in my notes that the key of David was revealed to me, what it was. And it's just funny, the timing of it. And the key of David is vital. It's vital to the way the end days are going to play out. I don't care what anybody says. It's vital. Here's my other passages. Isaiah 57:3. But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorceress, Lucifer, the seed of the adulterer and the whore. So it's Adam and Lucifer. That's what that's an allegory to. He made a covenant with the daughter of a strange god. We're told that in Micah 2. He rejected the wife of the covenant of his youth. Deuteronomy 7:3. It says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his sons, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy sons, for they will turn away thy sons from following me. This was the warning of the daughter Zion, of Mother Jerusalem, to the sons of Israel. All right, that she was trying to keep established in the right footpath, where they would follow after the righteous spirit, not the whore spirit. All right, and she warned them not to take wives from the surrounding nations, which they completely overrid and did anyway, because they were power hungry. Colossians 2:9. It pleased God, Mother, that in him, Christ, the fullness of the God, that the Godhead should dwell bodily. What was created in the beginning? Adam and the woman was inside of him, bodily, okay? She's the Godhead. She's part of this Godhead. She rules the body. She's the spirit. That's why she came from inside. All right? And when she was removed, when the spirit was removed, she received a portion of his body, and he received the remnant of her spirit. We're told that in Malachi. Did I say Micah 2 last time? It's Malachi 2. All right? I keep saying Micah for Malachi, or Malachi for Micah sometimes. So I apologize for that. But the Godhead is two. It's one male, it's one female. It's one body, one spirit. We are not a triune being. We are a twofold unit. We are one body and one spirit. And when the body rejected a covenant with the righteous spirit, he chose one with the whore spirit, which put us under the law. All right? And under the law, it is clearly shown that it weakens women under the law. We are weakened. Actually, in the physical existence, we become very weakened, because those laws were designed to attack us much harder than him. And it says iniquity is shaped under the law. So you have this idea of a form being framed under the law. And it says you battle against the flesh. It's a spirit against the flesh, right? And it says, but we also battle against spiritual entities in high places, right? Well, that spiritual entity is daughter Babylon, the whore spirit Lucifer, that fallen Adam exalted into the midst of the body, wherein the righteous spirit got cast down. All right? And she is daily accused. She is accused daily in the heavens by Lucifer, by that whore spirit, and by fallen Adam on this earth. Daily. All right? In Genesis 15:9, there's 3 females mentioned in that covenant. 2 are males, 3 are females. All right? Genesis 15:9, this is largely viewed as the new covenant. Christ is the ram in that covenant, but they disregard every other animal in that covenant as being significant and important in some way to understand. Leviticus 16, it speaks of 1 he-goat, 1 she-goat. It's not 2 he-goats. All right? Go do your study on that one. That'll be an eye-opener for you. She's the she-goat that was cast out into the land not inhabited. That's your Gentile nations. Because when the nation of Israel, when the body of man, Judah, no longer wanted her as their rulers, they cast them out. And Mother says to them, leave. And it speaks, oh, I wish I could remember the passage. It speaks of there being a remnant that does get out of Judah and Mount Zion. It speaks of a remnant that did leave. All right? And I forget the passage. You can go search that out. It's easy enough to Google it and find it, I think. Okay. The way that Christ reigns will be through his Spirit, who will regain power of her sword. There is power in our words, all right? This is how she rules. But also, there's going to come a time of reckoning when words just aren't enough. Words are not going to change the mess that this world is in. They're not listening. They're not hearing. And so that word actually has to take a physical manifestation in a sense that they're going to listen. And that means, I guess, a real sword, maybe, possibly. These words are power. They're actual power, physical power manifested here in this world. And when they don't hear your words, you can see it already. You can see a battle shaping up between the sexes. And it's really not so much that. It's really the righteous spirit against the whore spirit. And the whore spirit's going to have these men railing, that's going to be with her, railing against us. They're going to be with her. They're going to want to keep her in power because that's their power. That's their hold on power, but it's also their death. And then with us is going to be the righteous sons who are going to look like Christ, standing for us. That's what they should be looking like. But they're trying to make it a sex issue. You can see it shaping up on the scene. You can see it's really blowing up. All right? And they're creating divisions that's very difficult in the sense of words to argue. And so it's going to come down to the point where, look, they're not listening. So it's going to come down to actions manifesting here in physical time and space, and God dealing with that. And that dealing comes through the daughters of Zion. And we know Lucifer used her sword in the spirit, which manifests as the word here on earth. We know that. So only when daughter Zion takes up her sword does she regain her power back of the body. That's what we've been looking at in Allegory. Let's see what else we got. Okay, well, we got through it. So I guess that's pretty much, you know, there's so many other things that we studied over the course of these videos. So if you want to go in more depth on the key of David, we understand what it is. We understand just how important it has come to be in the end of days. And I just wanted to share a few allegories with you before I leave. I think this will be my last video for a while. I'll post this on April 5th just to give the other videos a little bit of time to get a few counts, because it seems like when I post another one, the other counts stop pretty much, at least for a while they do. So I won't post this one till April 5th. That's 2 days from now. And it'll be my last video. That'll be a whole year for me, because I posted my first videos April 5th last year. So that's a whole year for me. I'm not saying I'm completely done. I feel that I am done in the spirit. I feel that I've shown you what I can show you. I sure have a lot of notes and a lot of neat things I can share, and I might come on from time to time if the Spirit leads me to do so. Make a video maybe once a month. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll make one every 6 months. I don't know. And maybe I won't make any. But it'll be what the Spirit leads me to do, but I am feeling like I am done. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of reading through a lot of information and just constantly being in discussion with the Lord about a lot of things, and that takes a lot of time and effort out of you, whether you realize it or not. And so these are the things that I wanted to share. And we're going to go back and look at corrupted text, as I've been calling it. But this corrupted text was part of the 1611 King James when it came out, and that's your Apocrypha. But the particular passage that I looked at, and I'm going to look at it again, was found in 2nd Esdras, or Ezra, chapter 13. And what fascinated me about this is it clearly sums up that this is actually the daughter of Zion that we are clearly looking at. And I know there are so many things that I'm going to forget to share with you on this video that I wanted to share with you because they're just so fascinating. And usually when I make a video, it's off the cuff, and I don't go in and do the research that I need to on the things that I want to share. I don't do that as thorough as I need to. So I apologize for that. But the passage in Ezra was this, 2 Ezra 13, in your Apocrypha, and you can pull it up online, easy enough. It says, after 7 days I dreamed a dream in the night, and behold, a wind arose from the sea, and it stirred up all its waves. Verse 3, and I looked, and behold, this wind made something like the figure of not a man. This is the daughter Zion coming up from the bottom of the sea. Figure of a woman, and sea is referencing people, but land also references the body. So you tend to look at the land as male, the sea as female. Now they want to spin that around, but your sea kind of shows your spirit, although it's showing peoples, and the land is showing the body, the clay, right, which generally is male. And you know that mighty angel in Revelations, is it chapter 9, comes down, and this is the birthright holder, this is daughter Zion. She has the sevenfold spirit on her head, represented by the rainbow, the covenant on her head. She has clouds. That's her witnesses. That's the 144,000 witnesses in the earth. A cloud of great witnesses is with her. The seven thunders, that's your voices of the sevenfold spirit. And she places one foot on the water and one on the land, and she reads from a book. And but what she's saying is, this is mine. This belongs to me. I am daughter Zion. I am the rightful ruler. That's what she is establishing here. It's not a male angel. This is the daughter Zion that is taking back what always was hers. Now, they want to say it's Christ. That's fine, because the two are one. All right? And one other passage I wanted to look at briefly, and I do have it pulled up here, in reference to Christ and to the Queen, all right, is found in Zechariah 6:13. Now they want to put a king with a priest here, and it don't make sense. Let's start at Zechariah 6 verse 12. And you are to tell him that this is what the Lord of hosts say. Behold, a man whose name is the branch. It's not a man, it's a daughter. Behold, a woman whose name is the branch, who is Zion. And she will branch out from her place and build the temple of the Lord. That's giving the body of Christ. And she did. The Spirit yields him up. Verse 13. Yes, she will build the temple of the Lord. She will be clothed in splendor, and she will sit on her throne and rule. Now, there will also be a priest on his throne, and the council of peace will be between the two of them. They want to put a man as a king and another man as a priest. Sorry, that don't work. Christ is the kingly priest. He is the high priest. And for some reason, they want to translate it priest here. Okay? No, this is a queen with her glory, sitting on her rightful place of rulership, which is a throne that belongs to the daughter Zion. Man kicked her out of the body. Christ puts her back in. And then there will also be a priest, a high priest, is what it should be rendered here, on his throne. And the council of peace will be between the two of them, between them both. And that is daughter Zion and Christ, and they are one. They rule. They rule as one. They actually rule the heavens. And everybody else that comes from them are their children. Consider their children. You take of his body, you take of her spirit. All right? You become their children. All right. And what does it say in Isaiah 9:6? It says, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. All right. So the government is the daughter Zion. Now, I referenced Isaiah 9 for the key of David. I believe it's actually found in Isaiah 22. Isaiah 22. The key of David will be upon his shoulder. Okay. Now, we were looking at Ezra. All right. And I looked, and behold, this one made something like the figure of a woman come up out of the heart of the sea. And I looked, and behold, that woman flew with the clouds of heaven, and wherever she turned her face to look, everything under her gazed and trembled. Okay. Now, I found a passage that was just like this in the Bible. It was, I'm going to find it. Let me see what I got pulled up here. Okay. Okay, sorry folks. I thought I had noted it down somewhere because it was very important to connect. And I may have wrote it in this book. I've got so many books on the go. Okay, let me just check here. Okay, so I can't remember. There is a whole chapter, and I'll write it underneath in the notes when I find it. An absolute whole chapter that is this chapter in 2nd Ezra 13, and it completely lines up, and I believe it's one of the Psalms, and it completely lines up with this chapter, completely. And I thought I wrote it down somewhere. It's not in one of these books. I ain't finding it. But, so let's go back here. Okay, a figure like that of a woman come up out of the sea, okay? She comes up out of the spirit is what your allegory is once we understand. Waters is allegory to your spirit, and land is allegory to your body. Now, the interesting thing is, in 2 Kings 6, Elisha, who received a double portion of what Elijah had. So where Elijah performed 7 miracles, Elisha performs 14. But one of his servants comes to him and says, okay, just a second. I'm going to find it here. And it says that okay, here it is. We'll read it, okay. And watch your allegory to this right here of this woman coming up from, it says the heart of the sea, but we can say the bottom of the sea. She rises up out of the people, okay? Now watch this. It says, but as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water, and he cried and said, alas, master, for it was borrowed. Now he's talking to Elisha here. And the man of God said, where fell it? And he showed him the place, and he cut down a stick. Now, the stick come from the land, all right? So we can see an allegory to Christ as the man sent, all right, to the people, to the spirit, and he cut down a stick and cast it in thither, and the iron, which was at the bottom of the water, you can see it moving up, right, through the sea. And it says, and the iron did swim. Therefore said he, take it up to thee. And he put out his hand and took it. So, what is the iron an allegory to? Well, we're told daughter Zion's horns and hooves, when she threshes, are of iron and brass. All right, representing your spiritual allegory. And so here we have an actual reference to the Spirit rising up out of the people. And Christ come to claim her, all right? She's the power, right? It also speaks in Jeremiah of the hammer that beats out the false foundation. It breaks it all apart. So we actually have an allegory here to the body and the spirit. We have an allegory to the body coming from the land, and the spirit, which is your power, your iron, your brass, daughter Zion, swimming up out of the sea. And here we have in 2nd Ezra 13 that same allegory, all right? Now, I thought that was a pretty cool allegory, but I also have this to share. Where did I write that down? All right, Shiloh, okay? It says, the Shiloh that's mentioned in Genesis 49:10, it says this, the scepter will not depart from between Judah's feet until Shiloh comes. Now, the Latin Vulgate translated the word here as the one that is to be sent, which would be equivalent to, they say it's a possible corruption, but to the Hebrew word Shaluach, which means messenger. So it's Shiloh's name they're saying here could possibly actually be translated as messenger. So the scepter will not depart from between Judah's feet until the messenger comes. All right? Well, who's the messenger, right? Well, The Peshitta also apparently translates this. We'll go back to my camera here so I can see what's going on. There we are. The one to whom it belongs. That's how they translate it. So we're talking about the birthright here. And this belongs to a daughter descendant. We've proven that through Micah chapter 5. And she comes out of the drought house, out of Baal. She leaves the old body of Adam, which is now Baal. He's become the image of Baal. He's actually become a pile of dung, is your illusion there. You can't shape him. And so she actually is seen leaving, going out the gate, going up through the gate in Micah chapter 2. So this is to the one whom it belongs. And similarly, the Septuagint translates the word to the things stored up for her. All right. Now, what I find interesting is that the messenger that the Lord sent that we looked at in Isaiah 42, which we have identified as daughter Zion, she's also called the branch. She's called the messenger. She's called the messenger. So Isaiah 42:19, who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as they got he, she, that is perfect and blind as the Lord's servant. It takes you back to Zechariah 3. She says, from this group, these daughters of Zion will come the Spirit of Christ. That's what she's saying, this branch. All right. Now, what else did I want to show you? All right. So it says, this is she whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages. All right. It's not a man that this world is looking for, whether they know it or not, and they don't know it. It is a daughter descendant who rules everything. She is the ruler, who will herself deliver, that's birth, her creation, and she will direct those who are left. All right. And in this whole chapter, then it speaks of, but she shall stand on the top of Mount Zion. And Zion will come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built, as you saw the mountain carved out without hands. Where do we see a mountain carved out without hands, striking those 10 toes and taking down the false image of Baal as your ruler? Because your image is not a man. It's not. It may be a man, male and female. They just completely ignore the female. It is actually your female. She was the last thing created in the garden. It's amazing. They'll go, oh, the stacking order goes up. Then when it hits the man, the woman comes under his feet. No. You see, the woman was the last thing created because she represents the glory and the ruler of creation. That's what she represents. She's your daughter Zion, as you come to understand that that is what she's called in scriptures. And you come to that through the Spirit, down on your knees, and in hard study. And that's what we're told. That's how the day of the Lord comes on. That's what James, I believe, tells us. James tells us you bring on the day of the Lord by hard study. It's not our dreams. I've had certain dreams. I've come to understand quite a bit about those dreams lately. But, you know, it's the word. Understanding truth, I think, is what James is alluding to. Understanding the truth is what is going to bring on the day of the Lord, which is judgment. And it says judgment begins at the house of the Lord. Well, do you think that's an easy thing? Well, Isaiah 41:15. See, I will make you into a threshing sledge, new and sharp with many teeth. You will thresh the mountains and crush them and reduce the hills to chaff. All right. Pretty cool, huh? That's Isaiah 41:15. Isaiah 50. This is what the Lord says. Where is your mother's certificate of divorce with which she was sent away? Right? And she was sent away by fallen Adam. Now, it doesn't render it that way in that verse. But she was given a bill of divorce. That's why I think we are legal to leave out the gate of Shushan. We are legal in divorcing fallen Adam. We're legal because he does not adhere to our principles. All right? He's not listening to us. He's listening to the harlot, to the whore. That's his wife. Fallen Adam's wife is the harlot spirit, the whore spirit, who rules him. And by ruling him, that means he rules himself. That's what a harlot does. So he's joined himself to a harlot. And Christ came to find that key of David. He found her like a pearl in the field, remember? Priceless pearl. And he claims her. And she takes the children out through that gate when she finds the clean footpath to dwell in. All right? And she opens up that breach. And she goes to her beloved. All right? Because she's his principal now. All right? That's why you have the allegory of in Galatians 4. These two women are an allegory to two covenants. Well, fallen Adam does not have two covenants. He has one. And that's with the harlot. That's with the whore spirit. All right, which puts you under law, which puts you under bondage, which creates iniquity. Your body is shaped. Christ came for his key of David, his daughter Zion. That's his key. And you see her rising up through the sea of people to take back what has always been hers. And I believe that's also what confounded Daniel so badly in his visions. When the Ancient of Days, it was not no son that was took to the Ancient of Days and given her dominion. She was given her dominion back. It was a daughter that was took to the Ancient of Days, to mother. Her daughter came back to her mother, and she received back what was always hers. That we're shown that. She says in Hosea 2, she says, I will call her out of the wilderness, and I will restore back to her her vineyards. What was always hers. And I think that's what perplexed and left Daniel with such a countenance that was so puzzled, so confused is the idea of his countenance, I believe. And because he saw it's not the Son of Man. You know, Christ wasn't the Son of Man. He was the Son of woman. That's who he was. He was promised to come from the woman's seed, and it's interesting that the world calls him the Son of Man. But the daughter of woman is daughter Zion, and she is the promised heir to the entire kingdom. That's what this understanding leads you to. And this is what they are fighting so hard against. You see, if the daughter wakes up to who she is, then she can claim her birthright. And when she claims her birthright, all their plans go out the door. Oh, no. If we can convince them that it's a son, and that the daughter has nothing to do with any of this other than that she's to blame for it all, and that a man had to die for her and all this, then we've got it wrapped up. That's what they think. That's what they tell themselves. All right? And so every tactic went in, after Christ, went in to keeping her head shoved down. That's why they invert the cross. The head of the cross, which is the female, the spirit, is shoved down into the ground here. It's not as above, so below. It's not that way. They took the righteous daughter and shoved her head in the ground, so she would never pick it up. And understand that she is the rightful heir of the entire kingdom. She is the way that this entire kingdom is ruled, although the counsel is between them both. All right. So, is that all I wanted to say? It's not a very good video, I'm sorry. That's my typical, that's my standard day. You know, I find a lot of things when I go through my notes. I find a lot of dreams that I had. Not maybe dreams so much as phrases, and not a lot. There are a lot to me since 2004 to 2019. I've had passages and different little things shown to me. I'll just share one with you. One I just wrote down because I've been collecting them up because I have them placed all throughout my books. But one of them that I was told was that just as I was waking up, I heard it on the 27th of September 2017. This is what I heard. I heard two phrases just as I woke up. The cost of your house is the price of the daughter. I heard that phrase. And the second one that I heard is, God is the great reveler. I heard these two phrases. I'm starting to understand what they mean a little bit. But for me to share it, it's just, it'd be too much to really go into, because those two phrases goes with so many other things that I've been shown over time. We've all been, certain ones of us anyway, have been being shown who we are, if we're receptive to listen to it. So that's everything I'm going to share right now, I think. I'll throw this up on April 5th as my final video. Not much of a recap on the Key of David. I mean, I've done so much information on the Key of David that if you really want to pursue it, and I'm not saying that I ain't made my mistakes through it, because I've certainly seen mistakes here and there that I made that probably should have been corrected that I never did correct. And I see other areas that I could have really, really branched them out better and presented them in such a much grander way than what I did. So this is my final video, I think, for at least for a while. It'll be posted April 5th. I put a year into it, and I'm feeling in the spirit that I'm done now. So thanks to all who watched my videos, who tried to understand it. I appreciate it. Love ya. I don't know ya, but I love my brothers and sisters. I know there's a lot that rails hard against words that I said that might have come across as cold. Sorry about that, but when I was pursuing the feminine, I really had to go after it hard, because we were just pushed so hard the other way. So I really had to pursue the feminine in a very strict manner in order to get to the truth. I know that there are righteous sons, that there are good men out there that don't exalt the whore spirit. At least I want to believe that. I want to believe that there are godly men out there who understand what I'm telling you, who Christ was. And he's not like a fallen Adam who wants to subjugate women and believe that he's king of everything. That's not what Christ was about. And that's what draws his true love to him. That this understanding, and I know it because I was in these congregations of men who believed that they were the be-all, end-all, and they taught it that way. And it hurts. It hurts. You think you're the only ones with feelings? It hurts to think you're less, and that they teach that you're less and that you're under them and that you just don't have the brain capacity that they have. Christ is not like that. He was never like that. And his true love sees him for who he truly is. And I have to believe that somewhere in this creation that our men are waiting for us to stand up. Because you see, when we stand up, that's eternal life. That's what that means. It means eternal life for this Adam who receives us. All right? And it's love. That's what this is. This is a relationship of love, not of hate. So, there you go. That's my video. Again, thanks. I love you. Pray the Lord blesses you today in all that you're pursuing. And I hope you all have a really nice day.